It is Kirsten Liebelt. Jump on in. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you guys doing? It is Tuesday. And what date is it? It's January 7th. Tuesday, January 7th. Jump on in. If you've never seen any of my content before, I would love it if you would tell me you're on the replay. Tell me where you're coming in from. I'm in Minnesota. And strangely enough, I think we might be one of the only states that does not have any snow right now, but okay, whatever. I'm not complaining. And I'm in Minnesota, and my name is Kirsten Liebelt. We come here every day, Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's our new time. And we talk about insulin resistance because it's messing you up. I'm fully convinced that women are sliding into their 40s. They're insulin resistant. They do not know it. They do not know that this is why they can't lose weight. Or why they're gaining weight, because it's a hormonal conversation. So we're going to get into it. My my housekeeping for today, 3 o'clock Central Standard Time in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. Day 2 of the 5-day reset. It's free 99, and it's our 20th one. So jump in there if you have not done that already. I would love to have you in there. And so today what I wanted to do is I wanted to come on and talk about the hormone leptin. And the reason why is because I've been fielding a lot of questions from people recently about, well, first of all, yesterday when we talked about insulin resistance leading, connection with anxiety, that really, fireworks on Instagram. Oh my gosh, Instagram is like a party over there. Crazy. Julie, you're on the play, not replay. Well said. Well said. I believe you're getting snow this week. Oh, stop it. I don't want to hear that. It's actually just inconvenient. It's really not a terrible thing. It's just inconvenient is all. Good morning, Terry. She says she's sick with a cold, but had to get your daily dose of vitamin K. Vitamin Kirsten. Terry, you're amazing. I love you guys so much. You're so sweet. I know we've been overcoming too, and I don't live this life. Like, what is going on? So anyway, I'm like, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm just not going to pay attention to you. Whatever this little trespassing thing is, it's none of my business. So we're just going to keep on going. Anyway, and so I've been feeling it. So the cortisol, okay. The insulin-resistant anxiety connection really struck a chord with a lot of people yesterday. This is another connection that I think is going to strike a chord with people because some people are like, why am I still just hungry all the time, etc. And there are probably a few reasons for that, right? There are a few things that you can do to fix that. But I am of the belief system that if you can understand why certain things are happening in your body, you can stop being so hard on yourself and you can actually take action that is disassociated to your emotions about your journey. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. If you understood that when you spike your sugars, like we talked about yesterday, and if within 30 minutes or so you have an anxious feeling, it's literally your sugar spiking that's causing the anxiety, then you will have a more solidified reason to back off on quote unquote cheating because you're going to not want that feeling anymore because it's just too intense and you get exhausted, right? So let's do the same thing with leptin today, which is a hormone, and we'll make that connection for you. Oh my gosh, everybody's here. Good morning, Claudette. Good morning, Joanne. Good morning. Joanne lost a half an inch off of her hips. I love these stories. You guys are awesome. I'm assuming that's because of the fat burner, Joanne, correct? The orange pixie stick. Good morning, Magda. Happy Tuesday. Good to see you. I'm going to put that up there, Terry, because that's so sweet. I'm just going to do that. You're so sweet. I love that so much. That's so funny. Talking about food makes me hungry. Yes. Well, okay. So the fat burner. So she's been taking the Ignite. This is the orange pixie stick. And this is literally a target for your waist and your hips. And so she has a half an inch off of her hips. Woohoo! Everybody party with Joanne. I love that so much. So if you've never really kind of heard a little bit about my background, I know I always have new people on TikTok. My dad died of type 2 diabetes when he was 63. And that was just not something that's okay. If you actually go back and you look at the last reel that I posted, it's not on my personal page on Facebook, but it's on my business page. It's on Instagram. It's on TikTok. If you watch that, there's actually, I posted a picture of my dad. Oh, let's see, where did my daughter send that to me? I don't think I have it on this particular device, but my dad was Italian, 100% Italian. And so he's got this big old belly and a big old stogie in his mouth. That's my daddy. And so he died when he was 63. And so I knew none of this. So when I researched some of this stuff, like this leptin hormone that we're going to talk about, it's like, what in the world? Why do we not know some of this basic information so that we can take action and turn back our insulin resistance, turn back all of this belly fat and the frustration and the exhaustion? And it just absolutely floors me. But instead, we're only told to ever take scripts. And that is just not an answer for most of us. If you're on my content, you're probably looking for alternative. This is my first time seeing this. How can I start from the first? That's a really good question. We've been doing this a long time. I don't think I would recommend starting from the first. You'd have to go back a long, long ways on Instagram to get all of the replays. However, if you'd like to even just start with yesterday's, on my profile, on my Instagram profile, you'll just see a stream of videos that you can go back to. And you can pick according to maybe topics and stuff like that. That would be a really great way to go. So, and I can see stuff happening and it's not showing up. Sorry. Repost if I don't see something, repost it on Facebook. It'll show up. Okay. And so this is why we need to know about the leptin hormone and like, why don't we know about this? Okay, so let's get into it. So leptin is a crucial hormone for weight regulation. Have you guys all heard of the leptin hormone? This is what helps you to know you're full. It tells your brain, it signals your brain. Have you heard about this or is this brand new to you? I'd like to know. It's a crucial hormone for weight regulation and metabolic health, yet it is not widely discussed, and here's why. So the focus, and we talk about this a lot, you guys, the focus has been from the marketing that comes to us, from the actual, what we're taught in school. The focus is on calories and not hormones. You guys, you've got to shift your brain. You have to stop thinking about calories all the time. Yes, they play a part, but it's like saying that the scale is actually giving you a full picture. It's not. Calories don't give you a full picture at all because they are not created equal. Okay? So for decades, weight loss advice has focused on calorie in versus calorie out, ignoring the role of hormones. Leptin only gained attention after it was discovered in 1994. 1994, that's a super young hormone. So it's a relatively new topic in metabolic science. The complexity of hormonal regulation, hormones like leptin, insulin, and cortisol. Hello, this is like our conversation almost every day, right? They interact in really complex ways. This makes leptin harder to explain compared to simpler, eat less, move more messaging. I hate that. You guys, they're just feeding us a bunch of bunk. That's what they're doing. Eat less, move more. No, this is a hormonal conversation. The diet and fitness industry often promote quick fixes. Come on, quick fix, rather than educating about underlying hormonal imbalances like leptin resistance. And most health education does not include information on leptin because research is still emerging and it isn't typically addressed during routine doctor visits. What is? I mean, honestly. All right. Leptin is produced primarily in your fat cells, in your adipose tissue. Woohoo! When your fat cells store energy, they release leptin into your bloodstream. The more fat you have, the more leptin your fat cells produce. Leptin travels to your brain, particularly the hypothalamus to send a signal that you are full and having enough stored energy. While fat cells are the main source, small amounts of leptin are also produced in your stomach. Oh, you guys, you're going to have to track with me every day as I bring up the gut. You're just going to have to track because your stomach helps regulate short-term hunger signals. Your gut also produces your GLP-1. So who's thinking about GLP-1? Who's thinking about it's new to you? Yep. Thank you for saying that. We hear about GLP-1. We know about the injections. We're talking about it all the time. And I mean, it is literally like now you can't even open up social media without having a conversation about GLP-1, without having a conversation about semaglutide, injections, and GLP-1 just meaning like how to boost it naturally, or semaglutide, or, like there are all these conversations now. This is super beneficial to us, but the one problem is that it can get super noisy. So I'm really sympathetic to that because there's a lot of information and a lot of noise. Your skeletal muscles and placenta are minor contributions. That's super interesting. I had no idea. But paradoxically, people with more fat often have higher leptin levels, but they still feel hungry due to leptin resistance. I mean, honestly, right? But the answers are all the same, so don't get too discouraged here. I just want you to understand that there are scientific answers for why you might just be starving all the time. The brain stops responding to the hormone. So in insulin resistance, you guys, your cell stops responding to the hormone insulin. In leptin resistance, your brain stops responding to the hormone leptin. I am full now. I have enough energy. I don't need to eat. That's what's supposed to happen. But when you have leptin resistance, it's getting blocked. That signal is getting blocked. Okay? So here we go. So the disconnect is at the heart of many struggles with weight and insulin resistance. All right, let's connect the two together here so that you have a little bit of clarity. Hold on. Okay. Leptin is the hormone that tells your brain that you're full and it regulates fat storage. Balanced leptin creates fewer cravings, easier fat loss, and better energy. But when leptin stops working, leptin resistance, your brain doesn't get the stop eating signal, which leads to overeating, slow metabolism, and fat storage. So leptin resistance actually starts the cycle. This is very interesting. Leptin, overeating sugary processed foods flood your body with leptin, making your brain resistant. So it's the same thing that's happening with insulin. All this insulin in your body and your cell is resistant to bringing in the insulin and the energy. Your brain is now flooded with leptin and it becomes resistant to the I'm no longer hungry signal. I'm full. And it's not working anymore. It's kind of like a broken switch, right? Very frustrating. But you stay hungry and you keep eating, which leads to more fat storage, higher leptin levels. Your brain stops responding completely. Constant overeating then, are you tracking this? Now you're constantly overeating and it's spiking your insulin, making your cells less responsive to it. This traps sugar in the bloodstream, fat storage increases, blood sugar crashes, you crave more food. So your leptin resistance is actually leading to your insulin resistance. Do you understand? Like it's like this whole track that nobody is sharing and talking about. And how frustrating is that? Then when we're told to figure it out, it's just as bad as when I was growing up. Being Italian, food was everything. Right? I mean, no shocker there. But you are told to eat. So it's literally like, mangia, come on, eat. Like it's a sign of respect to the person who spent all the time making the food. But then when you start to gain weight, you're told, wow, you're really kind of putting on some weight. You should probably lose some weight. So then when you lose weight, the knee-jerk reaction, just because you're making small talk, is, oh, don't you get too skinny now, honey. Don't be doing that. And so you're in this cycle of total insanity. Like, what stupid messages to send people, especially when you're a kid. I mean, it really is, honestly, but it's the same thing here. So, we eat this diet that is an consumption of carbohydrates for this long period of time. And all of a sudden, our brain is resistant to the hormone leptin, and we're not knowing when we're full and when we're not. And so we just overeat. We eat more. Terry is saying leptin resistance makes so much sense. That was definitely one of my issues in addition to insulin resistance. Yep. So one is starting and then it's leading to the other. So leptin resistance is leading to insulin resistance. And then basically this is an entire hormonal conversation as to why you keep gaining weight and you can't lose weight. And that's why for those who, when you take the trio, the 3 supplements, some of you notice significant help with food noise when you're taking these 3. When you're taking the trio, you have that. It's almost like it's bringing back some of that. The signaling is coming back, like it's waking up, so to speak. Of course, that's just layman conversation, but it can help you with that food noise. It's such a helper. And then cortisol. Having a lot of conversations with you guys about cortisol right now. Some of you are just telling me that 2024 was very stressful for you. You're coming out of a very hard season. Your adrenals are shot. That your system is whatever. And I was on the phone last night with a customer who she was telling me that the stress probiotic, because you can choose one of the 2 probiotics. When you're doing the gut reset protocol and you're doing the primer and the probiotic, this one is the balance and it's the 5 strain, and you just put it on your tongue like this. Okay. And I purposely today, isn't this interesting? Here, I'll give you a practical lesson here with something that happened with me this morning. So the gut primer and the probiotic, you can choose this one or you can choose the stress one, which is a pill. And she says, wow, does she notice a difference when she takes the stress probiotic? So if your adrenals are shot, if your cortisol is high, if that you're just not sleeping at night and you need help with your fight or flight and your brain fog because you're just like you're misfiring, and your mental health, your wellness, your brain space needs help, pick up that probiotic. And some of you you're doing this stick 1 month and then you're doing the stress one the next month, and you're going back and forth, which is very interesting. So this morning I heated up this hot water. And I don't know if you guys have ever used, I don't have a link for this or anything like that. This is that LMNT. It's electrolytes. And a friend of mine gave me this one. This one is chocolate raspberry. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to drink it like a tea. It makes it like a salty chocolate raspberry tea is really what it's doing, but it's your electrolytes. So I'm just going to pour that in here, and it just makes it like, it smells amazing. The stuff is really good. It's sugar-free. It's highly recommended when you're doing keto and stuff like that to get your electrolytes, but also to the fact that it won't spike your sugars. So I have this ready to go. Now, I like it, that level of salty. You could always back off on it if you wanted to, but I really like it. Anyway, super yummy. So I was going to drink this. I sat down and I just got done doing my gut primer. You can probably see that in my glass, doing my gut primer, taking my supplements, doing my gut primer. And I went to go take my probiotic, and I knew that I had this sitting here, and I'm like, oh, nope. Set that probiotic aside, because probiotic is live cultures. Live cultures. You do not want probiotics to be in your tummy when you're drinking something hot. Okay. So you can heat up the gut primer if you want to, but don't take your probiotic with it. Wait until at least a half an hour or take it later in the day, whatever. I'll just take mine later in the day. But that was a practical example of me having to remember. I'm like, oh, put that probiotic down because I want it to work. Anyway, good morning, Linda. I know I'm actually feeling really good. I just don't know how to I don't know, it needs to leave my system. This is ridiculous. Makes me sound all schmutzy. So anyway, okay, so cortisol makes it worse. And so if you guys know that your cortisol is also high, if you can understand what you're trying to do is bring happiness and balance to your hormones, you will live a little differently and you won't maybe drive your body like it's a rental. You have to fix the food piece. You have to fix it. You can't keep eating junk and trash because your hormones can't handle it anymore. So I'm going to get into that here. So the worst offenders that mess up your leptin and your insulin. The first one is sugar and high fructose corn syrup. I think that we know that that's true. We're not confused about that. However, high fructose corn syrup is in a lot. So read your labels. But what's happening is sugar and high fructose corn syrup, they are spiking your insulin and it's blocking your leptin. So every time you are like, well, it's all about balance. And, my Aunt Katie did say that this was unsustainable. So I'm just going to find my own balance. I'm just telling you, you're blocking your leptin and now you're hungrier, right? Refined grains. So I teach sugar-free, grain-free, legume-free. Just do yourself a favor. Just do yourself a favor. Because refined grains, and that means all of that keto bread. No, it's not keto. It's not keto if there's grain in it. I don't care if they tell you it's 0 carb tortillas. No, they're making up some ridiculous formula of we're just going to dump massive amounts of fiber and offset it. No. That's BS. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's keeping you overweight and you are frustrated and you are like, what the heck is going on? And it's setting you up for self-sabotage because you're going to be like, well, but this is, this is what everybody else is doing, whatever. And then when it doesn't work or you lose a few, then you gain them and then you lose a few and then you gain. And then after a while, you basically are like, oh, what's the use? And you throw up your hands. What's the use? Who cares? Guess I'm just going to embrace my chunkiness, whatever, right? But that's us. That is self-sabotage because it's bringing us back to a comfortable place that we are familiar with. I know it sounds crazy, but in that book, Self-Sabotage No More, she talks about how your defense mechanism inside of you, it's just trying to protect you from going into new territory. New territory is scary inside of you. And so it's protecting you. And that's why we self-sabotage so that we can stay in familiar zone. And what does it matter anyway? Might be a familiar zone for you. Okay. So refined grains. It's just such a big mistake when you're eating keto. Seed oils. So canola, soybean, and corn, very inflammatory and it's disrupting your leptin signaling. You guys, my heart, it is challenging to watch people who have terminal diagnoses and they're trying to eat better, but they're pouring vegetable oil into their food, etc. And it's oh my gosh. It's just terrible. I hear that I'm frozen on Instagram. If anybody else is on Instagram and I'm not frozen, let me know. Seed oils are so bad. Canola, soybean, corn. And then artificial sweeteners. If you're doing a lot of aspartame and Some people do even get triggered by because stevia is a plant, allulose is a plant, monk fruit, those are all fine to be using, but some people find that they do keep them. Oh, thank you, Darla. Thank you. Some people, it does trigger them just because they're so sweet forward, and they're just they really, really want it bad. And so you keep on eating something sweet and it makes you want more sweet. And then ultra processed foods like chips, crackers, and fast food, it's just overloading your system with empty calories. So what are you supposed to do instead? Well, again, I'm not giving any information that you haven't heard me talk about before. Thank you so much for letting me know that. Crafty mom. Appreciate you. So your cortisol levels based on labs is within normal range of 15. However, when I listen to Dr. Ken Berry, he says it should be between 1 to 2 level. I'm confused. Any suggestions? Magda, I would have to look that up to give you a clear answer on that, because I'm not sure. Hold on. Let me see if I can. I don't know. I do like Dr. Ken Berry a lot. And I'll tell you that, balancing all of this it's a delicate balance, you guys. It's just, I wish that it was easier. I really do. Some people can intermittent fast and get really good results with intermittent fasting. If intermittent fasting is messing you up, it just might be that, your delicate balance was too on the edge to take on any differences like that for your hormones. You have to know yourself. Stop listening to hard and fast rules all the time, and instead begin to become a food assessor. So Magda, normal range of 15, between 1 to 2 level. Yeah. You know what? I would have to do more research on it. I don't feel like I'm getting a very clear understanding of that. So I'll have to look further into that, Magda. Thanks for asking that, though. Thank you for asking that. So when it comes to trying to balance out your own hormonal situation, obviously the food is the biggest piece. And again, talking to somebody else, I've had so many conversations in the last few days. It's just been really amazing to be able to chat with you guys, because then I know what you are needing the most help with. But if you knew that when you woke up in the morning, if you would just have eggs and maybe some a chicken sausage or something like that. Remember, I like to get those at either Aldi's or Walmart or Costco. You can get really good brands with really good ingredients. Your blood sugar will be so stable and so happy. And that's really one of the best things that you can do, is to start your day off with high protein and very stabilizing food. Because again, yesterday we talked about the connection between insulin resistance and anxiety. If you wake up in the morning and you spike your sugars to the moon by eating, even let's just say you were of the thought process that you were supposed to eat oatmeal, don't eat oatmeal. If you thought that, you're spiking your sugars really high. And then you're adding skim milk, and that's really spiking. And you're literally starting your day off with a dose of anxiety. And it's very frustrating because nobody's telling us that that's what's happening. All we ever hear is, this is heart healthy. This is really important for you. Blah, blah. We just hear all of these messages that just really are not helping. You're welcome, Magda. It's very frustrating. So protein-rich foods, grass-fed beef, chicken, eggs, and fish will keep you full longer. 100%. 100%. Get your protein way up. And not only that, but remember, protein like that is thermogenic. We're going to talk about that in our in the group today, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. We're going to talk about, because we're doing food ingredient trade out for the 5-day reset this month. It's our 20th one. If you didn't know, get in the group. And good morning, Phyllis. Good to see you from Arkansas. It's so good to see you. When there are thermogenic effects on the food that you eat. So, like when somebody says, I got the meat sweats and they say it in a negative sense, no, it's actually not bad. It takes a lot more energy to digest the protein. It's not hard on your system. It's just more thermogenic when it's doing it. And that's a good thing. Healthy fats, again, no shocker, right? Avocados, olive oil, coconut oil to support your brain function and your hormones. Fiber-rich veggies, broccoli, spinach, and asparagus. Polyphenol-rich foods, blueberries, green tea, dark chocolate can reduce inflammation. If you're going to eat dark chocolate, though, if you want to stay in the cycle, I've talked to many of you that have actually tried to do it, and you find that, because again, if you're adding sugar into your diet, even if it's with dark chocolate, it'll spike and it'll keep you in the cycle of craving and chasing. So instead, go find like Bake Believe or Lily's. You have to look at the ingredients on Lily's, but those are two options that you could look at. Do not look at Russell Stover. Trying to think of some other ones that are really trashy ingredients and they will spike you bad. I have to think about that. And then bone broth and collagen heal the gut and support leptin sensitivity. And again, in your gut, you produce your GLP-1, you produce your leptin, you've got all this stuff going on in your gut. You have to put your gut ahead of a lot of other things in your world so that you can absorb the nutrients from the supplements that you're taking and the food that you're eating. Okay. And then I know there are so many of you that you're still working on your sleep. I hear you. And then there are some of you that you started like doing the gut reset protocol and you're like, I haven't slept like this in years because you're getting your gut under control. I hear you too, because how exciting is that? If you can finally get a handle on your sleep, you have to prioritize it. Like make 2025 be your takedown year. Like come hell or high water, I'm going to figure out my sleep. I'm going to John Klusterman, who is the longevity expert, I started incorporating his protocol. I love it. I wasn't having a hard time with sleep though before because I had already fixed it, I feel like. But I feel like it's another level and I enjoy it. But for me, prior to like 1 year ago, what I was doing with my sleep, and it was working for me, was my 2 magnesium, and I have a sleep product, like a stinky herb, I call it, stinky herbs. And I was taking my 3 stinky herbs and my 2 magnesium, and I was going to bed and I was sleeping really well because I can't do melatonin. Melatonin makes me drunk. I hate melatonin. It doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel foggy the next day. So I was doing really well. Then they launched the ashwagandha, like in May, off of the organics line. I'm like, well, I'm going to test this. Love the ashwagandha. I was just talking to somebody about that this morning. One of y'all. And I just really am like, loving that ashwagandha. Ashwagandha helps with stress, sleep, and mood. So I'm doing that. Then John Klusterman said, okay, well, this is actually what he's doing. Now, I was already taking these pieces. I was just taking them at different times of the day. So now I'm just doing them at night the way that he recommends. And you guys can do whatever you want. But I'm telling you, everybody's going to have a different formula. Just embrace that reality. There is no one Facebook ad size fits all. There's just not, because there are so many factors. Ashwagandha is a lifesaver, Darla. Tell me what it's doing for you. Because I just ordered more last night. I'm like, yeah, that bottle's getting too low. I'm not appreciating that. I don't want to be out of my ashwagandha. But there's too many factors. Because some of you are on different scripts. Some of you are still eating different diets altogether. If you're still eating the standard American diet and you are spiking your sugars and your insulin resistance is still not at bay, or your anxiety is still too high, because maybe that anxiety is coming from the spiking of sugars, like everybody's got their own little party going on in their body. And so you have to come up with your own formula. So this is his. 2 of the turmeric, 2 of the ashwagandha, 2 magnesium, and I'll make a note on the magnesium here in just a second, and 1 vitamin C. and then go to bed. And actually, he does say to take the multivitamin, the trio multivitamin piece. I shouldn't use the word trio with that. The 3 sectioned out multivitamin at night too. So I've been doing that. And I sleep so good. And this has been since now December. I mean, I just feel like it's at another level. But you all have to play with it yourself. So don't be, don't feel like you have to take notes and then figure, but it's something to try, right? You can always reach out to me. So for you, the ashwagandha, it brings you peace. It calms you. It helps you to not overthink. And it's a great replacement for you instead of, ZOLOFT. OMG. That's amazing. God, that makes me happy. Ooh, I love stuff like that. Makes me so happy. Because again, even in yesterday, talking about anxiety and the SSRIs and how they're actually working against you and they're really hard to get off. And that was prompted by a lot of conversations I'm having in my inbox with you guys. One was specifically with a 25-year-old girl. And I'm like, don't stay on those. Don't do that. Along with magnesium. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I'm going to screenshot that actually. Hold on. I got to screenshot that. Because I want the Z word. I don't know. Did you all hear? Maybe you're not like tuned into this yet. Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know. Have you guys heard this? You'll have to tell me in the comments below. They are changing the way that Meta, which is Instagram, Threads, you guys may or may not know that exists. It's kind of a Instagram, Twitter alternative, whatever. I'm really never on that one, so I don't know. And Facebook, they're changing the way they're censoring content. This is brand new information, you guys. So maybe I won't have to speak in so much code. What do you think about that? Darla says, saw it. I will believe it when we see it. I know, Darla, right? I'm like, what's going on? I mean, you guys, we've been so censored. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I mean, and if you've never created content, you might not even understand. But like in 2020, if you even came on and said, vitamin D would be, no, don't be talking about vitamin D. I mean, honestly, anything you said was, that's misinformation. And we were so censored and it was so harsh. And so now we just think talking in code is normal. Anyway, okay, I digress. When she said the ZOLOFT word script, that's what made me think about that because, there's a lot of power. A lot of power in PHARMA. A lot of power because there's a lot of moolah. So anyway, we'll see how this goes. But I agree with you, Darla. We'll believe it when we see it, right? Thank you guys so much for all the follows on TikTok. I appreciate you guys and liking. If you would tap the screen, I'd be so grateful. So grateful. Come on in from the balcony too. Come on in. The party is going on. Okay, so prioritize your sleep. Make 2025, take it down. Figure out your sleep. Reduce your stress. And you know what? I wrote down yesterday in my own private time that I have in the morning, I wrote down the things that I'm not taking into 2025 with me from 2024 and the things that I'm going to prioritize. And I just feel like if we are mindful of that thought process and, we have to get to a place where we stop striving and we learn how to work from rest and we learn how to stop taking in every little piece of information from all of the industries, whatever they want us to think, whatever they want us to feel, whatever they want us to believe, whatever they want us to embrace. I mean, honestly, we have to stop. And I'm going to pay attention to my body, how my body functions, what brings me joy, what keeps me peaceful. I remember hearing from a pastor years ago, and I loved that he said this. He said, if at any point during the day I lose my peace, I stop and I ask myself, ooh, where did I lose my peace? And then he'll go, ooh, it was that phone call. That's where I lost my peace. And then he'll get realigned. Okay, he'll pray, he'll acknowledge it, he'll make it stop, he'll move on. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's the kind of assessor we get to be for ourselves. It'll be the best gift you ever give yourself. So I wrote down I think it was 6 things. 6 things I'm not taking into 2025 with me. And then I read them to my husband. I said, I'm not taking these with me. No, thank you. Door closed. So when I got up this morning, I said, thank you, Lord, for helping me not take those into 2025. Thank you for leaving those things in 2024, for helping me do that, because I don't know how to do it on my own all the time. Anyway, hey, Ruthie. Yep, leave it in 2024, baby. It's not interested anymore. So anyway, okay. So prioritize sleep, reduce stress, intermittent fasting, and then daily movement. And it's really, really, that's right, Ruthie. Thanks for jumping over. If you could tap the screen, that'd be great. It's one of those days, right? It's too easy for me to stay doing what I'm doing. And I'm sure I'm like everybody else, but it has to be an intentional decision that, nope, I'm going to stop right now. I'm going to pause. I'm going to break. I'm going to shift what I'm doing, all of that stuff. This is all a part of things that I'm implementing this year because I refuse. So I'm literally making things in my life that are important to me. Let me give you one example. My husband and I purchased for the grandkids this year a subscription is the wrong word, a membership to the Minnesota Zoo. And it's like the Grandparent Plus edition. Oh, I don't have to tell you all the details, but it's really fun. And it's just something that if I purchase something like that, then because that brings me joy, so plug in your own information into this thought process, then if that's what brings me joy, then I'm more apt to move towards that decision. Hey, we're going to grab the boys. We're taking them to the zoo today, blah, 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 whatever, because when you have a membership, you can come and go as you please, right? It's easier to do that. Anyway, but my point being that then now I've taken action on a decision that will actually move me into, I'm breaking my cycle. I'm breaking my, I'm shifting the way that I am, doing any given day. I'm getting out and I'm walking. I'm filling up my joy tank with my grandbabies. Whatever it is. So you have to decide what it is for you, what brings you joy, what makes you happy, and then take an action that fixes that for you. If you absolutely despise working out at a gym because you can't handle the smell, you're never going to go when it's 20 below out anyway, then stop trying to convince yourself that you like it. I'm not saying you have to like everything you do, but you know what? If resistance bands at home does the trick for you, then choose that. Do you understand? Make this so that you can actually move forward and change things. Phyllis, great advice. I had been thinking about how to simplify. Yep. It's just simple things like that for all of us. We just break it down a little bit and listen, maybe for you, it's around food. Now, this last year, I did not cook like I would like to cook. So it's one of the things I'm going to switch this year. It's one of the things. I just have this tendency to be able to, and here now we are in this whole stress conversation, which is good. I can be super boring. Super boring. I'll get up and eat the same thing every freaking day. I'll just eat eggs and a chicken sausage every day. I'm just super boring. And I do feel, though, that that's a success hack. The more boring things are in terms of being streamlined, the easier it is to maintain it. And you're not so apt to feel overwhelmed and then ditch it. So I like that. Well, taking that to its nth degree or whatever, then all of a sudden you feel like maybe you don't have, I don't know. I look back at 2024, I have not cooked hardly at all. I mean, I cook food all the time. What I mean by that is I don't cook variety. So true, Maria says. I just am not cooking variety. Like when I was taking care of my mom with dementia, I was always cooking something because I was taking care of her. So maybe I'd make sure I had an egg bake in the fridge, or I had a keto lasagna ready to go, or I had a breakfast chili, in the Instant Pot, or I had fill in the blank, right? And last year, I just didn't. So I'm going to prioritize that because I actually enjoy certain pieces of that. Anyway, I hope that's making sense. But you have to identify, where are you losing your peace? What is stressing you out? And I know some of y'all are going to tell me it's your job, and I can't completely fix that for people right in the moment, because a lot of you have jobs because of the degrees that you have. And so you are in a position where you feel like this is your career. You chose this anyway. Maybe you're making some decent income. It's not so easy just to switch it. But I'm telling you, the level of stress that it's causing you might not be worth it. Overthinking exercise. Yep. I know, Darla. We have to stop this. What if we just prioritize walking? Just simple. Just prioritize simple. There's so many. I'm excited. It's gotten me really excited because I normally, this isn't always how I start the year, because I have a new year, a fiscal year at the beginning of September. So I've already done a lot of business goals and everything. So this is just a little bit more of personal, like managing stress or managing whatever, joy, managing all of those types of things. Anyway, but I'll tell you, some of you have really stressful jobs, and it's just my heart. I'm just like, and that's when I talked to, I was talking to a new business owner here just a couple of days ago. And it's like, you can make the decision to start an online business. You can make the decision to put in something else that's in conjunction with what you're already doing. I mean, that's what I can help teach people to do, is to create an online income, and I share about that, about how, like for me, when I was taking care of my mom with dementia and she passed away, there was just no way I was going to go back to corporate America because I didn't want the stress. Best decision I ever made. Best decision I ever made. To make a full-time income from home for me is like life. It's life. Anyway, but my point is that you have to assess what's stressing you out. Manage your sleep, manage your stress. Understand that this is a hormonal conversation. This is not a calorie in, calorie out conversation. There are reasons why you're hungry all the time. There are reasons why you're craving sugars and carbs all the time. There are reasons. Your body is fearfully and wonderfully made, and it's telling you something. Something is not firing correctly. There's resistance in your cells to insulin. There is resistance in your brain to leptin. because the more fat cells you have, the more leptin you're releasing. So now there's too much leptin hormone flooding your brain, right? Just telling you. So you can turn it back around. So I guess, like just to even wrap up some of those pieces for today, recognize the food conversation that you have to have, recognize how you have to be able to manage a few things in your life, and then reach out to me if you need any information when it comes to supplementation so that you can turn things around. Get in the group if you need food ingredient trade outs. It's literally the conversation today, day 2 of a 5-day reset. We do it every month. This is our 20th one. And it's in the group Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. And I go live every day for 5 days. And then you're going to have tools and resources in your life to be able to take down the month of January, and then we'll do another one in March. Isn't that good news? And then if you're wondering about the supplementation, I usually start with the conversation about the trio because this is helping with sugars and insulin and liver and metabolism and visceral fat, okay? Food noise, all of that. I always start with the trio. This is where I started a little over 10 years ago. But if you go to my site and you look, there are 3 yellow stars. One is the trio. One is the trio plus the gut reset protocol. One is the trio plus the gut reset protocol plus the thermogenic. But what all 3 of them have is testimonies. Don't take my word for this. Look at the testimonies. Look at the before and after of the bloating because of the gut primer. Read the Google sheet on the testimonies that come in, because you can literally change the way that your engine is running. And you can begin to deflate that insulin and that sugar balloon, so to speak. You can think about how when you get your gut aligned, how it changes your ability to create GLP-1 hormone, your ability to balance other hormones in your body, how you are able to, 90% of the serotonin is created in your gut. You want to be taking care of your gut. Prioritize the things that are really important. Crafty Mom, my first last name .com. So Kirsten Liebelt .com. And you can also look on my profile on Instagram, and it's there for you. And you'll see just a handful of buttons. One button is to get you in the Facebook community. One button is a free protein guide. One button are trio testimonials. And then you're going to see different supplementation configurations according to what you are looking for help with. And the very first button at the very tippy top is text me here. Text me and say, yeah, you're welcome. Text me. Hey, I was on your live today and you were talking about, these configurations, and I just have questions. I don't know which one I should be really thinking about or paying attention to. I'd be more than happy to help you and just to navigate that, because I'll tell you, God dang it, you can have a completely different 2025 than you did in 2024. And the testimonies are there for you. They're already telling you testimony after testimony after testimony after testimony. And what was it, Kimberly's, that we talked about yesterday? And I did a reel on it. In 5 months, last year, in 5 months, her A1C went from a 6.8 down to a 5.9. She got off of two diabetic meds, and she lost 20 pounds. Interested? Terry, 8 months, 62 years old, lost 40 pounds. Just doing the exact same thing I'm telling you. She's doing this. She's doing all 3. So anyway, but I'd be more than happy to help you, because we can turn this back around. You guys can take control of your health. I will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time right here, because we do this every day. If you're on TikTok, follow, because otherwise I go off into the algorithm universe. But then 3 o'clock today, this afternoon, we're going to do ingredient trade outs in the group, Ditch Insulin Resistance for Women. Don't miss out. This is a great week for you to get resourced, to get a couple of nuggets in your, like, in your understanding, something that you can apply and execute and like take on until we do another one in February. So it's a blueprint for transformation. And I'm there every step of the way. You don't have to do this alone. And you don't have to just guess and throw spaghetti at the wall, even though I'll teach you about spaghetti trade-outs. Oh, I cracked myself up. Anyway, all right. Have a super blessed day, you guys. You're amazing. And I'm going to go eat, and I'm probably going to be super boring. And I'm going to go have eggs. And I'm not sure yet, but eggs for sure. So, all right. Have a great day, you guys. See you later. If you need anything, you know where to find me. At least I think you do, right? I think you do. Bye.